The Democrats, they're so despicable. The Democrats are not lifting a finger to remember the well over 100 people that have died in Texas Hill Country. What you are not being told by the media anywhere is that the death toll likely would not have been as high if it wasn't for DEI. This Texas tragedy is just the latest example. It's not just incompetence. This is DEI working to undermine meritocratic institutions, and more people likely die than otherwise would have because of DEI.
Charlie Kirk is saying they happened because of a DEI hire. This man is saying the Texas floods wouldn't have been bad if one of the people that were supposed to be in charge was black. So basically he's trying to say the floods, the weather, climate change sensed that there is a black man and he must have been a DEI hire, and the floods decided, you know what, we are literally gonna come in 10 tours and to Texas because there's a black man who is a DEI hire. And people ranting, opening their mouth, MAGA saying that no, it's literally nothing to do with politics. White Democrats are literally think everything is about politics. Okay, tell me it's not about politics when we have Republicans coming out and blaming nature on black people.
Oh my hopefully existing God. You know what? It's not even worth me talking about. Don't really answer this one, guys. This is a rhetorical question, but what's stopping me right now from getting up from where I am and going and finding Charlie Kirk and publicly turning his life into an asteroid field? No, because, hear me out, I think he's ungrateful. This is a guy who, while preaching about America being terrible, he quite literally has the American dream. A good-looking wife, 2 kids, both a boy and a girl, both sides. All the money in the world for doing basically nothing but saying his opinions. And yet he is still unhappy. And the thing is, you say you've been funded by tons of conservative donors. That's wonderful. Only problem is your entire salary comes from people who are so afraid of becoming obsolete that they will halt progress. And the thing is, where do you get off saying, oh, black people get everything? You get paid to be a professional bigot. That's it. That's all. Like, there's no knowledge basis for that. There's nothing. You get paid to be a professional bigot. And the thing is, maybe, just maybe, if this were 1955, that would make a little bit more sense. But I don't see Marty coming in with a DeLorean anytime soon. You know, it's funny. You remind me a lot of, what's her name? Emily Wilson, another uneducated conservative mouthpiece who went nowhere after high school. So one day she was approached by the Hateful Collective, probably like you were, and they were like, hey, you want to make some money by going and saying the things that we believe? You look like the type of person that would be the perfect representative for us. And you accepted, didn't you? In your case, you know, you're 6'4". You probably got told real quick, yeah, basketball and football, it's not going to cut it for you. You're not it. You know what I see when I look at people like you and Emily Wilson, Chuck? A bunch of weak-minded, uneducated, replaceable, useless life forms. Life forms who have turned to being the model for bigotry and hatred because they weren't going to amount to anything else otherwise. And you stand there and blame us. Fine, I blame you. We're still here getting those opportunities because the only thing that you truly outpace us in is racism. And y'all can break out all the systemic statistics you want in response to this. But strip all that away, base form, I'm beating your ass.
So Charlie Kirk decides to say that Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is just a DEI hire and that basically she's only hired because she's a black woman. And that's the idea that so many people try to put out right now, that black women, quote unquote, black women only got jobs because of DEI hires. DEI has now became the new word for, it became the new N word at this point. Y'all have decided that y'all basically want to be able to say the N word at this point, and that's what y'all using with this DEI. She just said it's because she's a nigga. You feel me? Just say that. Just, you want to say that so fucking bad, then just say that, bro. Y'all not finna continue to be able to do that, because if you look at the statistics of her educational background, she went to Harvard, bro.
So guess who Charlie Kirk is now blaming for the deaths in Texas due to the floods? Did it? It went from we can't politicize it to Charlie Kirk now saying that it's the fault of black folks that people drowned in Texas. He goes on to blame Barack Obama for forcing DEI into Texas and the fact that there's a black fire chief in Austin who Charlie Kirk believes was just too stupid to understand that if he sent firefighters there, he would get reimbursed by the state of Texas. You won't hear Charlie Kirk talk about that it took over 72 hours for Kristi Noem to approve FEMA for search and rescue. During those 72 hours, we don't know how many people lost their lives because of the incompetence of Kristi Noem and the Trump regime. That's not even getting into all the cuts that Donald Trump made that officials on the ground said without a doubt cost lives. No, when it's MAGA, you always blame the people of color. Every single problem of the United States is because of black or brown people. Charlie Kirk said it again. You heard it right there.
Far-right MAGA influencer Charlie Kirk had the audacity to say yesterday and blame the death tolls due to the Texas floods on DEI. Yes, DEI. I guess the act of nature and the fact that God is part of DEI at this point. You guys should really feel insulted. The fact that this man, instead of talking about accountability for the president, the commander-in-chief, defunding NOAA and the National Weather Service, and the fact that there was lack of sirens and preparedness before this flood, he'd rather blame it on DEI. Y'all should feel more insulted than when the Democrats were saying things such as, this is what y'all voted for, when referring to all the children that have died. Because instead of taking accountability and wanting better for Texas and saying something reasonable, because last I checked, a lot of people in Texas said a lot of people died, children died, leave politics out of it. This man decides to blame it on DEI in behalf of the commander-in-chief. We're talking about a man that hangs on Donald Trump's balls like a spider monkey. Like, this is a man that when Donald Trump was announced that he was going to be president again, this man was crying to his wife about another man winning the election. Like in literal tears, like so dramatic. Crying over Donald Trump winning the election again. Like, you see how ridiculous that sounds? Like, 100%, y'all should feel insulted by the words of Charlie Kirk. With that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments.
If Charlie Kirk can blame DEI on the tragedy in Texas, then we can point out the legitimate reality of what happens when you cut the National Weather Service and a natural disaster occurs. Because without citing any data or any sources, Charlie Kirk is claiming that the death toll in Texas would have been lower had it not been for DEI. He is blaming DEI for the death toll in Texas being so high, when the legitimate reality is that FEMA has been cut all year, is that the National Weather Service was decimated, was completely cut, and that the Department of Homeland Security, which is what funds FEMA, ran out of money months ago because Kristi Noem and the rest of the Department of Homeland Security spent all their money on ICE and immigration. And so now that Texas has had a natural disaster, the federal government doesn't even have the money to help. So Charlie Kirk is trying to blame DEI for something that legitimately happened because the federal government ran out of money because of how they mismanaged their funds. If you want to place blame on the Texas tragedy, on a natural disaster, place it at our National Weather Service. And we need to fund the preventative, the things that we don't see. We love seeing the response to natural disasters, firefighters, but we don't see the people who are trying to prevent, the meteorologists, people who are actually doing the work, the unseen work. Those are the people. And instead, people like Charlie Kirk are blaming DEI.
Wasn't for DEI.
Brother, this is Texas. Did he think that this was California? What does he mean when he says DEI? Is he talking about divert environmental investment? DEI, divert everything to Israel? This kind of commentary also is a direct consequence of people getting dumber and dumber year over year.